All right, looks like we're back up. That's good, I guess. So stupid. I can't figure out how to do that. It's kind of driving me crazy. So strange. I've got like plenty of bandwidth. I was showing everybody last time. I got plenty of bandwidth. I just don't realize, or I don't know why it's not like screaming. Anyways, so let's do a quick recap for those who may just be signing in here. The whole two or three of you. So this is what I named this one. You can get that still up there. Let's see, jack of all trades, master of none. How this saved my career, which is true. So let's just kind of jump to that. I'll come back to that a little bit later. But there was, like I said, I was saying before the stream got cut off. I decided to go to a tech school because after high school I didn't want to go to college and waste money. So I ended up going to the Conservatory of Recording Arts in Arizona to learn just audio. That's all I wanted to learn was audio stuff. I didn't want to do anything else but audio. So I went there for 9 months. It was a lot faster than going to Full Sail, which was at that time 2 years. And I learned a little bit of every trade there. So I learned live sound. I learned just straight up audio recording music and producing music. I learned about a little bit about video game stuff, not a lot. Sound design for film, definitely a lot of that. So they had a really big kind of swath of things that they got you into, and they started you out with analog tape. I mean, it was a really good program. If you want to do this, if you're someone who's young, just think about maybe going there because that is a good place to go. Anyways, so having that background, I came back to Utah. A lot of my friends went to California, Nashville, New York. But I ended up coming back to Utah because that was where I'm from. And I did a lot of, my whole dream was to go on tour with a band. Because I'd been in a band and I was like, I want to be on that production side of things and see what happened. So I got into that a little bit, but it was on the local side where you're supporting the touring acts. And so I did that for about 2 years until I got a job at a place called Performance Audio. And that it was a sales position, selling audio equipment. I never thought about actually selling audio equipment. But yeah, Mike Mon's like probably 28 years, better than 28 years ago when you went to Crass. Well, I was 15 years ago, so that was a while ago as well. So I'm with you there, man. So when I got back here, or when I got the job at Performance Audio, I never thought about doing sales, but apparently I was decent at it. I wasn't the best, but I was okay at it. And I did that for about 3 years until another band I was in decided to go full time, and we toured a little bit around the West Coast area, the Rocky Mountains West, in that area because that's where we're all from. And so I had a lot of live experience, some sales experience, and then I went back when the band inevitably failed. We called it quits, and I went back to work at Performance Audio. So we were running full time for about 1.5 years, and then I went back to work at Performance Audio. And if you guys want to go check them out, performanceaudio.com. They're kind of like Sweetwater and those kind of places where you can buy stuff online. So it's pretty cool. They're local here in Salt Lake City, so they're really good guys. If you're in Salt Lake, go check them out as well. And so after working at Performance, I went 100% freelance with a couple of different things. Actually, throughout that whole time, between actually from when I started in about 98, 99, I had been on Pro Tools. So I'd been working on Pro Tools for a long time. And then around 2012, I started doing a lot of audiobook stuff. So I got in with a couple of companies that were contracted with some big name publishers, and they just kept producing audiobooks. So I was doing a lot of editing and a lot of QCing audiobooks. And that's what got me into a lot of the dialogue editing and dialogue recording that I do today. But in addition to that, I was also doing back to doing concerts and festivals from a local production side. So I would go to the site, to the venue, and I would get the sound system, the entire system set up. I'd get front of house and monitor world set up and get everything ready for the groups that were coming in, because they would send all the stuff that they needed ahead of time, and that's what we would do, right? So I did that for about 3 or 4 years, and then I got actually longer than that, from 2012 to about 2016. I did that. But in the meantime, I was also getting probably a dozen clients, just freelance editing, because while during the summer, doing the outside shows and the festivals and things like that, it keeps you way busy and gets you a ton of work. In the wintertime, it all kind of goes flat. So you have to keep those clients, those other clients available, so that when it all goes, when the summer stuff kind of tapers off, you're there. You've got something to fall back on and provide for your family. And at that point, I had 2 kids, and so I ended up doing a lot of freelance work for a local company here, and eventually got hired on full time, and that's still what I do here. But what that allowed me to do, and I kind of want to get into, while I was doing a lot of live and post-production stuff, that branched things out. So instead of just concentrating, because a lot of guys in our industry concentrate on one thing. So like, hey, I am just doing post-production. I am just doing sound design. And that's all they ever do is sound design. And then there's guys who go, I'm just doing live. Like, I just want to go and tour. And that's how I was at the beginning. I just want to go tour. I don't want to do anything else. And I don't have any desire to be in the studio with a band. And that's kind of how I was at first. It was like, I don't want to sit in a band in a studio doing take after take after take after take after take until you get the right take. I want to go do the show and be done. Mix the show, they perform, and then we're done. I ended up getting that experience from both post-production, especially dialogue production, and the live stuff. And that helped in my current position, because we do, the company I work for does a lot of both. So we do a lot of production on one side, and then we do a lot of, we would do a ton of post-production. This Mike, who's on right now, Studio M, in the chat, he knows what I'm talking about. He works in a different department than I do for this company, but in production still. And we do a lot. We do post-production. We do language overdubs. We do live events like crazy. So what that allows you to do, and this is kind of bringing it all together on why I think it's good, especially in the production world, to branch out. Don't just focus on one discipline. You can, but definitely develop other disciplines as well within that same industry. So because I'm in audio, that's where I focused on live sound for a number of years, and then I started getting into post-production and dialogue production, and so my skill set from 8 years ago is completely different than it was then, and it's developed so much more, so that if somebody came into me and said, hey, I've got to produce, we've got to do a voiceover for this production or for this commercial, I could do it like that. And then if they said, oh yeah, and by the way, after we do that, we're going to go do this live event over here with the same person. I go, okay, I can go do that live event, and I can do both of them pretty dang good. I think I'm a better live engineer than I am a post-production engineer, just because I think I've had more experience there. But I would say never, never limit your scope just to one area. If you're in like video post production, um, do both. Like if you're doing post, get into also like on set production or like production filming and like live broadcast. Because if you don't, if you're looking at our situation today, where the entertainment industry has just been shattered by the pandemic, where we just, there's so much going on that everything got canceled, and then everything got canceled. For instance, I was touring with a group last year called Gentry. This is one of their little things here. I don't know if you can see that, G for Gentry. They're a cinematic pop group, a trio, a tenor trio, and we were pretty busy last year. We toured a lot in the winter and the spring and the fall, and a couple things in the summer, a couple bigger things in the summer. But ever since February, everything's just been cut off. And I know those guys have had a hard time because now they, that was a source of income for them that isn't there anymore. So I know that, and I know that's how it is in the industry. And if you look, a lot of those guys who were doing that live stuff have now transitioned over to doing broadcast audio and production. And at least for a little bit, I'm afraid it's probably going to be like that. A lot of guys who were booked on these tours, worldwide tours, what are they doing now? Unfortunately, they had to go find something else. And it may not actually be in the audio industry, unfortunately. So and that sucks. I can't even begin to imagine how much that sucks. And I think I was fortunate to work at a company where we are still doing productions, and we still have things to work on, albeit not as much as we did. But we have the overhead to be able to pay us all, and we are able to find work to justify us staying on there. So, this is something that I really want to like drill into people's heads sometimes, that like, hey, I ain't a studio guy, I'm just a live guy. I'm just a live guy, or I'm just a studio guy. All I do is I just work on films. That's all I do. Because there was a stigma. I remember back in probably 2014, no, 2011, there was a stigma of a studio guy, a guy who mixes and produces in the studio, coming and mixing a live show. And they come out, it was this thing of they make it too bright because the environment's way different than they're used to mixing in. And there's some validity to that, sure, but it's not, I don't think that should be the mentality, because you never know. They may be like I am, where I'm in the studio most of the time during my day job doing post-production stuff and dialogue overdubs, but then I go and I tour with a group all around the United States doing live sound. So you never know until you hear the guy mix. Then you can make all the judgments you want. But getting into, and and I've also done a lot of stuff in broadcast as well, where you're running broadcast. Which, if you're a live guy and a post-production guy, and you like doing both, I think broadcast is exactly where you want to be. That is like the sweet spot in the middle, because when you're in a live situation, you're running a show, and it's loud, and there's all sorts of elements that you can't control that may be causing, like if you're doing an outdoor show, it just may sound like crap because it's outdoors and you can't control anything. The wind blows, everything gets phasey, whatever. There's just so many elements you can't control. And then when you're in the studio, like I was saying earlier, it's like I am here all the time, and we're just going over and over and over again, and you can't escape, right? You're like, I'm in the studio forever and I can't get out, and I just want to go mix a show. So, yeah. Oh, look, the buffer on my ATEM is full. That's awesome. If it cuts out again, guys, I'm sorry, but we'll just keep going. So broadcast is being a broadcast engineer or like a broadcast operator is, I think, perfect because you're running a live show and you are mixing for in a controlled environment. You're in like a broadcast truck mixing a live event. So you have the element of being, okay, I just have to mix the live event and then I'm done, but you're in a controlled space. So anyways, I think we'll probably wrap it up there. My whole point is don't put all your eggs in one basket. We've heard that saying so many times, and it is very, very true. And I think, especially, based on what we've been through the last 6 months here, that is like a big thing for me is, you're running into this situation where you're out of luck if you can't get if you don't have that experience in other areas, then you're out of luck and you got to start from the ground zero, which is not fun. So especially after this, I feel like a lot of guys, and even now they're branching out into other things, other sides of production that they didn't want to or weren't interested in before. But it helps. It really helps if you kind of broaden your knowledge and your expanse in other areas. So, all right, well that's really all I wanted to go through. We've got like 4 or 5 people in here. Well, until the stream cuts out, how about does anybody have any questions or anything? Because I think I need to figure out this ATEM thing. It's driving me absolutely out of my mind because I've got 45 up. Yeah, Mike says sunlight is good from time to time. Yes, it is. When you're stuck in this, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like being in the dark. That's just me. I like the ambiance of the lighting and working in the. But yeah, you got to get out in the sunlight sometimes. That's very true. So anyways, I think we'll leave it at that, guys. Hope this, helps you out. Makes you think a little bit about what you're doing in your career. And I mean, this could go beyond production, right? It doesn't have to be just, audio or video production. It could be in any discipline, anything that, any career that you're in. So, well, thanks guys. I think we'll end it there. And then, we are going to do this again in the future, probably next Monday. I think we'll run it into next Monday and do another one. Hopefully I can have, let's see, what's your streaming set to? Well, yeah, connect in. Yeah, my streams are actually set to medium right now. And they were set on high before I upgraded my internet plan. And I only had like 6 up and it was set to high and it was streaming just fine. I bump it up to 48. I think I'm at 45 or 50 up, and I have to set it to medium. It's driving me nuts, and I got to figure out what's going on. I even, like I said earlier in the podcast, I've shut off internet to every other device that I could possibly shut it off to, and I'm still only getting that much money, that much bandwidth, and it's driving me insane. All right, well. Cool, guys. I'll put out something. There's a video that came out today about using an external recorder for a podcast, which is good. Go check that out. I've also got another video coming out this week. I'm not sure. We hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so I'm thinking that I'll do a video about that, and maybe we'll do a tour of my crappy little studio hole here and what I've got set up. So maybe we'll do something like that and kind of work it into there. So. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Okay, we'll see you later.